And welcome to Nuggets Postgame Live, presented by your Front Range Toyota dealers. Katie Winchy, Chris Dempsey, and Bill Hanslick. The Denver Nuggets, right there wrong. Memphis, in the past, they got back on track. How'd they do it?
You look, they played defense when they needed to do it. You know, I don't think they're going to look at this entirety of this game and say it was a defensive masterpiece. But when they needed to get stops, and in the quarters that it was most important to be able to do so, they did that. And it was the fourth quarter, and it was down the stretch. And they made, the offensive efforts of some of their really good players stand up. And so when you're looking at this basketball team, I think you're just looking for the ability for them to continue to trend up. There's a lot that they can take that's been really good about this basketball game that they can continue on with. But certainly defensively for me, especially in that fourth quarter, was a difference.
Yeah, you need. That's why you need a full roster. You cannot play this game and just rely on certain different nights, different things happen. Tonight, again, we talked about it at the open of this, that small guys came in and the energy uplift, getting after Toronto. Toronto's a good team.
Yep. They
play physical. You don't want to play them in the Eastern Conference because they can beat you. I'm very, it was a really, really good win for the Nuggets tonight.
Yeah, that small ball lineup that started the fourth quarter that really set off the Denver Nuggets to go on the run that they did, an 8-0 run. Jamal Murray was a big part of that. He is our Texas State Brazil player profile tonight. He had 31 points, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. He only had 9 points in the first half and then had 21 points in the second half, 10 in the third. The defense, Demps, timely shot making from Jamal Murray.
Yeah, also I just think that he thought that, you know what, they needed a jump start on offense. They needed some consistency, possession to possession offensively, and he was going to give it to him, and he did. This has just been an unbelievable season for him. 31 here tonight. Was it his 20th 30-point game of the season, which is a career high for him in any particular one season. So he's been great. They needed all of those points. They needed to be able to catch Toronto and then keep themselves in front of them, and he was right in the middle of all that.
Yeah, I love with the energy that he played with all night. It was almost like I'm playing against Canada tonight. I want to go after him. In that third quarter and then into the fourth quarter, sometimes he was going down like 1-on-4, 1-on-5 and trying to get to the rim. And more often than not, he either scored or created some foul shots, and that really helped his team.
To tie the bow on Jamal Murray, too, this was his 20th 30-plus point night.
Yeah.
Combined the last two seasons, he only had 19.
There you go.
So that really does tell the story of just how impactful Jamal Murray has been.
Katie, he's having an all-NBA season. He should be on an all-NBA team. He really should.
He should. He's earned it. He's absolutely earned it. All right, let's switch gears now. Talk about Tim Hardaway Jr. a little bit. He is our Ruffles player swap. And Tim Hardaway.
The ability to be able to hit that three-point shot and stretch the defense out, he gives them that.
You often say with shooters like that, it goes with Jamal too. When you're really getting it going like he did tonight, he had his legs. He had some lift, and his follow-through was great, but 7 out of 10 behind the arc. And I marvel how the coaches do not give Hardaway any space, and yet
he finds space.
There's a couple loose balls, but he just hangs around that three-point line. Find me, guys.
Don't ignore this either. I think in that post-game interview with Vic Lombardi, when Vic was asking about his intensity, and Tim's initial response was that loss in Memphis really stung.
Yeah.
He takes so much pride every single time he steps on the floor, every single time he wants to win, no matter how the Nuggets do that. I think that loss might have catapulted him into this type of performance.
Well, you're right, and it feels like with Tim Hardaway, every loss really, he internalizes every loss.
To his core.
Yeah, so he's thinking about that all the time, and so the next time he gets out there on the basketball court, he's going to very well do whatever he feels needs to be done to help this team get to the finish line, the winner's circle.
Well, yeah, and I think one of the reasons why he came here in the offseason, he took less money because he's playing with Nikola Jokić, and he's playing with a team that had the potential to win it all. And I think those guys still believe they can win it all. They get healthy, play together a little bit more.
They believe that.
That's the goal.
Undoubtedly so, they believe that. All right, time for our first time out here on Nuggets Post-Game Live. When we come back, we'll keep breaking down the details of this Denver Nuggets win, 121-115, the final. We'll hear from head coach.
David, to me, the game broke down to the start of the fourth quarter. That small group that came in, didn't have as much success the first half, but that fourth quarter, I thought they were fantastic, and that's what won the game for you guys.
Yeah, just defensive intensity. I thought we kind of sped them up as opposed to what they did to us in the third quarter. And then, Jamal was really special during that time offensively, which allows you, that's the thing, is you have to score to set your defense to really 1 through 5 switch, get into people. And so by him getting the line, making shots, getting us back and set, we really impacted, I thought, them on the defensive end. To your point, only 21 points that quarter. And then I thought at the end of the game, AG was tremendous defensively, just guarding people one-on-one. We tried to move Nikola around as much as we can. So just that game was very playoff-like, from both teams. The physicality, the different lineups, star players having moments. So just a really good home win for us.
Can you describe the intensity of Tim Hardaway?
Yeah. It's all things great and crazy at the same time. His confidence level is, it never wavers, which is a talent I think we all wish we had in certain parts of life. And in basketball, that's what he has. He firmly believes after he misses the next 5 are going to go in. And, he is a green light player. I'll never bat an eye if he takes a shot. And he has these nights where he can just turn games. There was multiple times where we got loose balls and he's right there, makes an enormous shot to keep us close to them. And I thought defensively, like he really sat down and guarded. So yeah, Tim's been, we talked about it a lot this year, but a lot of the wins like this, if you look back, at Tim's box scores, he's a big part of it. Getting hot, flipping the game, starting runs, and having him out there when Jamal had it going. It's just another guy they didn't want to leave. But when they blitzed Jamal and we found Spence and Spence found Tim, beautiful basketball. And it's just good to see Tim out there every night. He just helps us in so many ways.
I feel like another big play was at the very end there where the Raptors are kind of switch hunting and Jamal comes out and hedges that screen, right? And then AG's able to recover and get the block on Scotty Lawrence.
Right.
What kind of led to that play? And do you feel like you guys are able to start doing more of that stuff just with the group getting healthy?
Yeah, and I think we were switching a lot, putting Jamal and Barnes with the reality that we were going to tilt, and bring a big over and put 2 people on him. But I give Scotty credit. I mean, he's an all-star for a reason. The around the back pass to, I think it was Pirtle, he playmaked. So once he's at 8 assists for the game, but got to the end of the game, it was like, all right, it's time to just have Aaron just guard him. And Aaron, once he got through, we all know what it is. AG is unique in that sense. He can take it in the chest, even against somebody as strong as Barnes. So yeah, AG's always making winning plays. But yeah, to your point, that was a decision made late in the game, something we had walked through today, and we got to that point, and it came at the right time.
You guys, you spoke a little bit pregame about you feel like you've strung together some moments, you've had some good moments for this group. But this was one where you finally kind of got over the top, because it has felt like over the course of this season you guys have gotten pretty close in a lot of these situations but haven't necessarily polished it off. Can the team take solace in some of these moments, like just building upon this and turning it into another moment and then having it spiral a bit?
Yeah, no, I think that's the goal. Obviously, having the day tomorrow to get right, and we're back into an early game Sunday. But yeah, I think that's been what patience is about in this league. You can't look at a moment and say, man, if we would have won that game, then we would have won 3 in a row, then we would have taken off. You just have to go day by day. And I know what you're saying, and I think that's been the frustrating part, I imagine for anybody, our players, everybody. For me as a coach, I can't think that way. I'd have to think about beating the Blazers on Sunday, and if those things happen and we string wins together, great. But we're still trying to figure this out. I thought a moment tonight, extremely underrated, and Jamal missed the shot, but they cross-matched Barnes on Nikola. AG and Nikola, they both came up, set really good screens, got Jamal a great look. And we're going to have to do some of that stuff when teams cross-match, and that's just being unselfish. Those 2 guys saying, hey, do we want Nikola to get the ball? Yes. But it's just as good if he can take 3 people with him, and Aaron included, and give Jamal Murray a great look. So, those are the small moments I'm looking for, is the attacking things that we've seen throughout the year that have given us issues, and some of the things that these trends that we've seen from teams, and especially a team like this that has, really a built-in cross-match team with Barnes being a guy that can guard everybody, and Pirtle being a high IQ center that just kind of roams around. And so I saw some growth there, and I think if we can find team growth schematically on the court with wins, that's the goal. And we have to continue to do that, and that continues Sunday.
David, you mentioned the other day that last week you were trying kind of some random lineups against some of the best teams in the league. This is twice in as many weeks that you've had that small ball lineup kind of galvanize one of these comebacks in the fourth, with Spencer at the 5, all that, the switchability. Do you feel like you found something there that you can start to lean on more and more?
Yeah, I guess it's 3 times in the last, 7 games it's gone really well. I think probably mostly halves. I think that the challenge with that group, and it happened a little bit in the first half, is that we have to figure out an organized offense, and it's hard, especially teams like this that can switch 1 through 5, and we have to create triggers behind it, not just leave Jamal out there going 1-on-5. That's not going to work for us. So the more time you can get, which we don't practice a lot, but the more walkthrough time we can have with that group and give them optionality offensively, will allow me to have more confidence to do that more often. And I think, defensively, it makes total sense. I just want to make sure they're comfortable out there offensively. And like I said, because we did do a good job offensively in the second half, then all the positives of the 1 through 5 switching, the aggressiveness, getting into the ball, all those things can happen. So yeah, that group was really special tonight, and they certainly flipped the game, start the fourth quarter.
1 for 6 on 2.
Very interesting comments of talking about, I have to take this one game at a time at this point of the season and being as present as possible. And you had mentioned that was one of the most interesting answers, him talking about the cross-matching, how they attacked that, getting Jamal Murray a great look. What did you think of what he was saying there?
Yeah, it was interesting because basically what he was saying is that teams are starting to guard them like that, almost all of them now. And look, there's not a lot of teams that can put 6-7 long arm players that can just switch everything on the court the way Toronto can. So I think there's going to be teams where it's more traditional in terms of how they're guarded and guarded down the stretch. But because so many more teams are starting to do that, the question now is how do you counter it? And so they found some things tonight that they obviously are going to bottle up and try to use going forward.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you still got, what they get, 120 points or 121,
yeah,
which is really good. But yeah, what you look at how OKC plays with Toronto, play the same way. Play a physical, clutch, grab, layover, make the passes tough coming in, try to deflect them and force the Nuggets offense out. As much as Toronto tried to do it, the Nuggets still got 120, and they were pretty consistent every quarter. The fourth quarter, a little better, had 36.
Yeah, and what you're trying to do there as well is how do you score in the clutch time when you're being faced with defenses like that? And so the reason why it's very important for the starters to continue to play together and for them to walk through things is because you need reps against that stuff, so that when you see it in the playoffs, and you will see it at some point in the playoffs, you already have this bank of things that you can get to that will help you continue to be successful.
Hans, you mentioned the fourth quarter. The Nuggets held the Raptors to just 21 points in that period. It is time now to defend the paint, presented by Red Canary. Let's talk about that defense in the fourth. The situational defense, the ability to turn it on when you need to. What did you see?
Well, defense is hard work. It's energy. It's staying in front of guys. And I thought that the small ball really did. You watch these highlights. They're bumping, keeping guys in front, contesting shots, and then go get the rebound. And that's what they did. It didn't make any difference that Bruce Brown's on Pottle there. Had no difference. You switch, be physical. A little bit like Toronto plays. You look at these hands. Joker makes a big steal there and draws a foul. But yeah, 21 points. You're gonna increase your lead or get back in the game when you hold teams under 25 and a quarter.
Dems, what was noticeable about what changed defensively for Denver in that period?
I think it was just easier for them to stop dribble penetration, and you saw in a couple of those clips, actually one early one where Cam Johnson switches on to, I believe it was Quickly, and then takes the hit in the chest, and that's exactly how you're supposed to do that defensively, and then Quickly's going nowhere, and all of a sudden that offensive series for them has been really kind of blown up. So the physicality that those it was a small team,
yeah.
But they were able to switch out. So you switch out like this, so that they're taking negative dribbles, or so they're not turning corners and getting into your paint.
Make it play side to side.
Correct. Yeah, exactly right. And that's exactly what that group did.
Big difference when you're switching with purpose and intention.
Yeah, for sure.
Big difference. All right, we're going to take another break here on Nuggets Postgame Live. Speaking of big defensive plays, how about this one from Aaron Gordon? Down the stretch, Nuggets need to stop. AG, not tonight. Nuggets get the win over the Raptors.